a majority of people don't have more than $400 to have as far as savings are concerned. So that's a little scary, especially when you get laid off or things like this happen, where it's, what we're on a month and a half already, or a month.
Hey y'all, so today we have my friend, fellow Hooper, fellow three-point shooter extraordinaire, and premier Las Vegas finance advisors, Mr. Mark Ragos.
So first, thanks for telling me that I'm a three-pointer extraordinaire. It's been a long time since I've been on the court, but Kenny here has been a baller for a while too. So, but a little bit on me. I'm from New Jersey originally, but I've been in Vegas for almost 20 years now. So I've been here for quite a while. But as far as certificates and stuff like that, so I've been in the financial field since 2008. So I've been in this field since our last recession. So, but as far as certificates, I have my Series 7 license, Series 66 license. I have the life and health license, and as far as designation on the financial side, I have my CRPC, which is Chartered Retirement Planning Counselor, and then also my AWMA, which is the Accredited Wealth Management Advisor. So, there's a bunch of acronyms, a bunch of designations, but it's needed in this super regulated field.
You're also managing member of Financial Fitness?
Yep. So that's a firm that we recently started, not too long, about a year and a half now. And I'm essentially the founder of that firm, Financial Fitness, and it's an investment firm, an independent investment firm, which we don't have any ties to any specific company or product, so we're able to be independent and just give you the right advice and the right recommendation without having any ties to any company. So it's just based on the client's needs. So I come from Merrill Lynch primarily, which the focus was only high net worth and ultra net worth clients. So the biggest reason on why I started Financial Fitness is I wanted to tailor to more people that actually needed great advice or professional advice. And that demographic isn't necessarily the high net worth, because the high net worth, they have the money, they just need to know exactly what to put it into and the investments and create a portfolio. But as far as Financial Fitness, my goal is to assist more people that really need the help. So it's really the millennials and anybody, I guess you can say 30 and younger. Obviously the 40s and 50s are a different demographic, but ultimately the things that we offer at Financial Fitness is everything that we offer to the high net worth. So it would be financial planning, which is comprehensive financial planning, investment management, and the biggest thing is really the financial planning portion. So that's where not many millennials would have a financial plan or don't know where to start. So as far as what we offer, from A to Z as far as financial is concerned, but we're able to tailor the financial plan towards the younger crowd.
We essentially are millennials, right? Like
yeah, exactly.
I'm 30. Yeah, we're in that base. And right now it seems like millennials are getting hit the hardest because maybe we haven't planned as well. No one in the world expected COVID-19 to impact the economy as it did, and most of us obviously weren't planning on having X amount of months of retire or of savings or financially just being able to kind of live in the next X amount of God knows how long this thing's gonna last, So financial planning, especially for millennials, is super important. And I know myself, like I am not great with it, So and it's hard enough trying to maintain a day to day, especially being our age now, like people that have families and a house and a mortgage, So even diving into this a little bit, like how are people coping in this economy of COVID?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's tough, especially here in Vegas. Like for example, I just drove down the Strip today just to check it out because I've been seeing a lot of posts of how empty everything is. and it was empty. There was nobody there. It was just a few cars on the road, just kind of everybody kind of checking it out. But other than that, I mean, if I've never seen the strip as empty as it was before, as it is now. So I mean, if you can imagine how much money is being lost as far as revenue for all the businesses, not just on the strip, but outside of the strip, all the small businesses, it's having an impact on everybody. And then, just in Vegas alone, it's a service industry, and people are being laid off, and it's going to take a long time to recover. So, I mean, it's tough to see how empty and no activity there is outside right now. So it's a little scary.
I don't know if you know many hospitality people. I'm sure we both do. A few of my friends were laid off within the following days of the casinos being called to shut down, and just COVID-19 being active. Like 2 days into it, friends from MGM and Caesars were all laid off without really a safety net.
Yeah, and that's the tough thing is, in our generation, like you mentioned, there's so many moving parts and so many things to juggle that when something like this happens, and there was a stat before that, what we're on a month and a half already, or a month. So it's tough for a lot of people. I mean, I'm happy that there's a little bit of a stimulus from the government coming through, but it's only going to hold up for so long for a lot of people. So it's a little tough.
As far as even the stimulus goes for people and I know it probably won't reach us for a while, right? It's
Mhm.
the direct deposits say, what's the estimate for direct deposits on a stimulus?
They said the 15th for the direct deposit, but then if you don't have direct deposit, it may take another month after that. So if you didn't do direct deposit on your taxes for 2018-19, it may take longer. So it's going to take a while for sure.
Sure. And knowing that timeline and estimation, what can people do? I mean, during this time, like, are they surviving? Are they scrounging? Like, what can some people do in this time when they're waiting for the deposit and when they're waiting for a check to arrive? With let's say with a two-person family, that has minimal savings in their account, like what can people do right now?
Well, other than filing for the unemployment, say for example you're able to, which it's great that they mentioned that they're allowing independent contractors, sole proprietors to be able to file, but right now they're actually recommending in Nevada to not file at the moment because of the system. But as far as if you are able to file for unemployment, I mean, that's going to be the first thing that you want to do because there has to be some cash flow coming in. The next, obviously, is if you need to tap into your savings. I mean, you have to. I mean, there's no going about it, right? But the absolute last thing, in my opinion, is if you do have retirement accounts, to tap into that at the absolute last. I mean, this year they are allowing the penalty to be waived this year if you need to withdraw from your retirement accounts, but that is going to bring you back tremendously as far as the general saving for retirement, because at the end of the day, I mean, if you have to, you have to, but my recommendation would be to try to find that side hustle to make money. I know I see a lot of people trying to make masks and bake foods at home, and then for having people to pick up at their house. Like today, for example, we just found it on Instagram. I forgot the name already, but I definitely would like to have a shout out on it. But they're baking foods at home and then having people pick it up at their garage, which is it's extra income. So just trying to have that extra cash flow is key for sure.
Yeah, and I know you don't recommend diving into retirement, but what about credit cards?
Credit cards, I mean, the thing with credit cards is it's more on behavior, right? So obviously, if you have the limits, or if you have a credit line, let's say a home equity line of credit or anything like that, I would tap into that. But again, it's going to be based on behavior. So a lot of people that may not have credit, it's it's tough because what happens after this is really going to be the key. So if you do tap into your credit and start using your credit cards, make sure to once you can to be able to pay that off right away. But it becomes a behavioral problem, I guess. Is once you rack up the credit cards, it's hard to drop that balance down, and that's what I've seen with a lot of younger people like us. Is I've seen that there's a higher credit card limits or higher credit card debt, and then it's very difficult to pay that down um, throughout the years. But again, if you do need to and you do have that limit, you can. I would, if obviously you need to live and eat, but after all this, you have to pay that down as quickly as possible and not let it just sit there and charge you interest. Because although the interest rates are low, your credit card interest rates aren't going to be as low as 0%. So I
Yeah,
mean,
sure. And there's, I mean, even right now, like talking about that, we don't even know what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks or so. Like if the credit card companies for people that are living off credit cards right now, like are credit card companies lowering those interest rate to whatever the minimum amount is, or are they keeping it to what contractually they're obligated to? And going forward, like if people choose to survive on credit cards for the next X amount of months, do you know of any plans from credit companies to any debt forgiveness, anything like that?
yeah. So I mean, I don't hear anything as far as forgiveness of it. I've seen some that may defer. So if you need to miss a payment, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, they are allowing that. So having different payment plans, so it doesn't mess up your credit score. So you can work with your credit card provider to be able to do that. And a lot of what I've seen is a lot of car notes. They are allowing that as well, as far as deferring, but not necessarily forgiveness. I haven't seen that. Um, I guess if it gets too bad, there may be something, but I haven't seen anything as of yet for that. So more on the deferment or extending your payment plan is what I've seen recently.
For people that are lucky enough to be employed full time, like myself, and have a good amount of savings, what should we do in this situation? Because I myself, as a person that loves to flip, that loves to hustle, and everything else within that, it's like, should we be aggressive into um, investing some of our money into whatever we see in the future? Should we save it? Do we invest it? It's like, even if we invest it, will that even matter? Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, like right now, interest rates are super low, right? So if you leave it in your bank account, let's say, $100,000 in cash, because even before this, there was a ton of cash on the sideline, as far as overall in the United States, just tons of people just sitting in cash. And either you were scared to get into the market or you thought it was too high and just waiting for the right opportunity. But if you do leave it in cash, I mean, it's not going to do you any good because it's interest rates are too low. But as far as where we're at now, and if you're fortunate enough to be sitting on cash and waiting for the right opportunity, I mean, this is the right opportunity. So, I mean, when I started out in the business, it was back in 2008, and then it was a recession. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to invest as much as I wanted to back then. But now, people that are able to or that have the cash on the side, in my opinion, think of it of a, a store saying 20-30% discount. I mean, the only thing is to make sure to buy. So I mean, it's a buying opportunity in my opinion. We don't know if it's the bottom yet, and it's going to be hard to time the market. But in my opinion, dollar cost averaging into the market little by little, even if it's dropping on a regular weekly basis. But in my opinion, it's a buying opportunity, 100%, because I've been waiting for this to happen. As far as not necessarily the virus, we didn't know exactly what was going to cause the downturn, But I mean, we've been waiting for this for a long time. I mean, it was due as far as a correction in the market. So in my opinion, I'd buy overall.
Yeah, it's funny. Like we were talking about recession a few years ago, and I think, like you said, I think we all knew it was coming. But to be hit in this way where the pandemic just kind of obliterates everything, it's a wild. I don't think anyone would have forethought
Oh
this.
yeah. Oh yeah. No one knew exactly that it was going to be a virus that would essentially just obliterate the market just so quickly. It was just like that. It was just downhill, and no one thought it was going to be a virus. I mean, I don't think anybody predicted this at all. So I mean, it's definitely scary.
Yeah, it kind of shows you, like, even financially, dude. One minute we might have the best economy in the last 10 years, and in the next, in the snap, where we might be, what are we in, a depression? Are we in a recession? What would you call this stage?
I mean, right now you can't say that it's a recession as of yet because we don't see the numbers yet. So I mean, obviously, uh, the next quarter or quarter two that we just entered into, it's going to be scary to hear what the numbers were for quarter one. So then we can be in a recession already. So I mean, it's really scary because it's the longer we are in the closure or the longer we are with this virus, the lower it's going to be, especially in the next couple months. Not even the next couple months, maybe the next 8 to 9 months. I mean, we don't even know. So I mean, in my opinion, I think we're already in a recession because it's been too long. Um, but I think that it's going to recover quicker than back in 2008, 2009. I think it's going to recover a little bit faster than that. But overall, I think that we're in a recession. We just don't know yet until the numbers really come out, and it's always a lag as far as the numbers.
Now, okay, going back to that, what do you see the difference in us being able to quickly pick things back up? What do you see the difference between 10 years ago to now?
Well, with with this one, I think it's mainly on consumer behavior. So once, let's say, for example, the virus is completely gone around the world, and then we have a vaccine for it, then everybody's going to be okay. Everybody's good. Everybody's fine. Then everybody's going to go back to normal. And then once that behavior kicks in, then it's just a up away from recession. Exactly. Essentially, it's just straight to back to a bull market. But the question is, it's not really going to happen that way. The question is, how quickly will that behavior uh, go back to normal of, of being comfortable in public and just doing the normal stuff before we even knew what coronavirus is as a whole. So I think that's why we think that it's going to be a faster recovery because it could just be night and day. One day everybody is, hey, there's a vaccine out, which they don't anticipate it being you know in the next 8 to 9 months. But if there is, optimistically, then we'd be, in my opinion, right back to where we're at. So then taking advantage of that uptick back into the market is it's hard to time, but it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I think that's what people don't see. That, like, remember the $2 trillion stimulus they put into Wall Street?
Yeah,
That I don't know what happened with that. Did that ever work? But even based on what they were trying to correct, and as you were saying, it's the behavior of the people. It's the trust of the people to go outside, to shop at these places, that really matters, because it's like, when when are people actually going to be safe enough to go out and buy consumer goods, buy
yeah,
publicly traded companies like Best Buy, Walmart, to get those stocks back up? So it's like you said, it's a good, I think it's a good projection of the economy picking back up, but it's just really based on trust and health and safety of people, if they can actually go back outside, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, I just had the conversation with a friend about the stimulus checks. I mean, back then, once you got the check, you're able to spend it, right? So once we get the checks, as far as a whole or as a public, I mean, we can't really spend. We can't go out, go to the malls, or buy anything unless it's for rent, food, and stuff like that, which it's definitely going to help a lot of people. But overall spending is still going to be, no matter how much money the government's going to give, if the virus is out there and everybody's still at home, it's not necessarily going to matter as far as different, buying behaviors are concerned. So it's you can give me $10,000 or $100,000. Not going to matter too much because you still can't go out there and really spend it the way that you would want to. So that's the difference between the stimulus, in my opinion, from back 10 years ago to now. But I think they've been saying that there might be another, there's going to be different stages to the stimulus. So we'll hear more about that.
Well, I really hope so, man, because I think in this day and age where, cost of living anywhere in the country is fairly high. $1,200 for a family or
Hmm.
$1,200 for an individual. Um, I don't even know if that lasts you a month, especially if
Not at
you
all.
have, yeah. But I think the good thing about what's happening now maybe is that, the rent forgiveness or the delayed payment of rents. But, I think most people have to realize that just because they are allowing you to delay the rent doesn't mean that you don't owe them, right?
Exactly, exactly. So it's just more, again, just deferment, just helping people out, not go into the hole and all that. But it's not, you're gonna have to pay it eventually. And
Sure.
as a business owner, or as if you have a property that you're renting out, I mean, you want to be, if you're the landlord, you want to help out your tenants, but at the end of the day, it's still business, and they're gonna want their payment eventually.
Sure. And have you heard any government assistance regarding rent, like major wide rent deferment, where it's not even deferment, but it's maybe forgiveness, or is there any programs out there that you've heard that are coming?
I think there is. I haven't looked into the payment forgiveness as far as mortgages and rent is concerned. I know that there was a few articles that I briefly skimmed through. I did not get the details to formatively tell people, but I can imagine that there would be.
Yeah, I think once you hear something about that, please keep us updated.
Oh, of course, of course.
I know you mentioned 8 to 9 months, but with the economy that it is now, do you foresee an economy that, or even state of affairs where things will kind of regain order in 6 to 12 months? Is that even a possibility?
Ugh. I mean, that's the thing is like, so they're projecting what, April 30th as far as the I guess you could say the lockdown would be lifted, or not necessarily the lockdown, but the social distancing mandates. But I mean, what the peak is supposed to peak on the 15th is the projection right now. So I mean, 6 months may be too soon, to be honest with you, because it's going to have a lag. So we're not going to have a vaccine by then. So I don't see behavior going back to the way it was. But overall, I think 6 to 9 months would be a good estimate of people picking back up as far as going back to normal. Uh, but there's definitely been disruption in the market, so it's I see a little bit longer than that. The six months seems a little bit too soon, but I think that we need a little bit more time.
I try to warn a lot of my friends and family about, because I feel sometimes that the last 2 weeks have been more of a vacation versus something that they should take seriously, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And I think people right now should anticipate that, April 30th would be, I was short of a miracle, right?
yeah. I mean, if we're supposed to peak at April 15th, right? Yeah, we're talking about two weeks, and then all of a sudden, we're allowed to go out and about. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not the medical expert, but I wouldn't be comfortable yet. I mean, I wouldn't be comfortable going back to, for example, going to the mall or right, just social gatherings and stuff like that. I mean, until I think everybody gets tested, that's when I'll when I'll be a little bit more comfortable. But that's another issue of its own, right?
Yeah, and it's right now it's strictly behavior, man. I was reading an article this morning about there's three churches in Vegas that were still holding live service for Palm Sunday, and they were still having people at church. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, that really just like blows my mind, dude. It's one of these things where if the behavior of people don't change, and there's still what, like 8 states that aren't on full lockdown, right? So
Yeah.
people have to look at that. It's like, as as awful the news is, like I don't watch any cable news, I don't watch any local news. Like I get a lot of my sources on like on Twitter or whatever it is. But there are X amount of states that are still not on lockdown, and you got to think about it, man. It's like there are going to be multiple waves that are going to flow through, you know
Yeah.
and if I know Vegas, we're talking about opening up May 1st for casinos, maybe like a light open, and people will start coming in here, and this whole thing starts again.
Then we're just back to square one again. It's going back to the whole social distancing and making sure everybody's at home. And it's I know everybody has different opinions about it, but I mean overall, it's I think that we can't gather like you mentioned the churches. I mean, as much as we want to, it's going to be tough. I mean, like they just mentioned, you can be asymptomatic or I can't even pronounce right now, but
It's a hard word.
you yeah you don't even know if you're infected. So I mean, and you could be perfectly fine and spread it. So it's that's the scary part.
Yeah, it's all about behavior, man. Like, and to talk about behavior, knowing, on a worst to worst case basis, let's say this really doesn't get solved until they find a vaccine or whatever it is, like maybe let's say, quarter 4. How could What are some things people can do to change their behaviors in a positive financial way, right? Like I know we talked about side hustles and it's trying to make more money on the side, but what are some behaviors people can do, and as for us millennials anticipating that there is going to be a long run of this?
Yeah, I mean, other than your essentials and living and eating, and obviously trying to find as much cash flow, the financials have. I mean, I think now people are bringing it to the top of their mind, but overall, being able to have the mentality that, hey, paying my future self is a priority. So paying your future self down the line, like you said, like we mentioned, it may take however long. I don't know exactly how long. It may be a year, 2 years, so on and so forth. But paying yourself, your future self, is a mindset that people can change in general, because it's not just day to day, week to week, putting that extra side hustle money towards, let's say, hey, I'm eventually going to retire. I mean, this too shall pass. But putting, even if it's just 5%, 10% of whatever you're making on the side towards that retirement is going to help you out in the long term. Because I mean, if worst comes to worst, you need to take that money out 2 years from now, 3 years from now, because of let's say just an unforeseen emergency, then at least you'll have it. So just having that mentality of, hey, you know what, I need to put this off to the side, pay my future self in case of anything, or if it's for retirement, having that mentality of putting that as a top priority, I think is the best thing that we can do. So
Yeah, and
work on that side hustles, guys.
no, seriously, man. I think this is out of all the positive silver linings that are going to come out of this. I think it makes everyone's so much self-aware into our financials, right? And it's
Oh yeah.
I genuinely hope people are paying attention to the next few months and to the finances. You said, man, this is pay yourself is a huge benefit. That's a huge advice that people
Yeah.
have to take heed on. And silver lining is that, hey, maybe this downtime is good for individuals and humans to really figure out like how to be smarter with whatever they need to do to survive.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about it is if you are laid off and you're looking for a job now, but it is your opportunity to really find out, what you want to do. I mean, if there's a side hustle, if there's something that you've really been working on or thinking about, I mean, the time to really plan it now is you have the time. So I mean, that can come out to something big when this all kind of boils over. But I mean, I'm happy when I see people post, selling masks and like I mentioned, the baking goods and stuff like that, because that shows that you're looking to make that extra cash, and obviously that mentality portion is put some aside to pay yourself for the future.
Yeah, even talking about side hustles, right? So are there any programs right now where banks are giving out loans to people that want to start a small business? And is that even a smart thing to do?
Well, the program that they have now in the stimulus portion is they have that small business loan, and then they have there's two programs that they have currently, but the negative part of it is they don't have it all, I guess, dialed down yet. So a lot of people are currently applying for the loans through SBB, but they're not getting the loans as quickly as they need. But these are existing businesses. So as far as brand new businesses, I didn't hear anything going on in regards to loans for brand new businesses. It's mainly for existing businesses to try to keep them open, try to make sure the payroll is paid, and things of that nature. But as far as brand new businesses, that's the portion where I didn't read any new small business loans that they're probably putting that actually probably last, um, versus existing businesses now, because those are that's what's really struggling for a lot of people.
Sure. Yeah. All right, brother. Just to recap, top two things to do: pay yourself.
Top two things to do: pay yourself first. Pay yourself first, and try to find out that extra cash flow.
What are three things you look forward to when all this ends?
When all this ends, I mean, what I'm really looking forward to, I mean, as far as the top two things, and not necessarily on the negative note, is the people that have the cash on the side. It's a very exciting time to get into the market now, because if you look hindsight 2020, obviously, um, if you invested in back in 2008, 2009, or even past recessions and past downturns in the market, there's more good times than bad. So if you invest now, invest while it's down, invest while it's all at a discount, then coming out of this, what I'm excited for is the upward uptick for the market, and a long bull market again. So that's what I'm hoping for, and hopefully the people that are able to can go ahead and invest in the market. And obviously, if you need a resource, that's what financial fitness is for, to get you started. And yeah, I mean, stay confident. That's what I've been. Just got to stay positive, stay confident, and I got to look at the positives and everything, right?
Yes, sir. That's
Mhm.
it's very important, man. As far as there's two things that are most important in life, right? Financial fitness and mental fitness. You
Yep, yep,
gotta keep them both strong. And like you said, for the people that are really in a downturn and don't know what to do in this time, like stay
yeah,
positive and
yeah,
hustle. Use this time to
exactly.
pursue that side hustle, pursue the thing you've been wanting to do. Because I think as life has shown us, it's hard to depend on any company to provide you a living any
Yeah,
chance.
yeah, for sure. it's a good time to get started in whichever endeavor you want to come out of this. And I totally believe in that side hustle and pursuing your passion. So it's that's what I'm excited about for what comes out of this from everybody else. I can't wait to see what those posts and what they did during the the quarantining and what they did. And that's what I'm excited about, or what I'm excited to see. So, yeah.
100%. 100%. One of the biggest things that I'm looking forward to is getting back on a court.
Oh yeah, yeah. Me too, man. Did you see that they took the rims out of the courts, out of the basketball courts, from all the parks?
That's wild. That's smart.
Yeah, I was, I noticed it. I said, wait, what happened to these to the rims? And then I saw someone else post it like, hey, there's no rims here. And I'm like, oh, that's what they're doing is taking the rims out so people don't go out and play.
That's smart. And I think what is it? Well, I was looking at California where people were still playing 5-on-5 in Venice Beach or something, and the governor was getting so angry about that. But it's behaviors, man.
Yeah,
Yep.
Straight up just took out the rims.
One last thing. So speaking of that, I know there are a ton of corporations, a ton of businesses that have closed their doors. Like, let's say, like Lifetime Fitness has completely closed doors until this whole thing dissolves. But what do you like? What are some things that people can do? Like, I know because when this thing happens, the first thing that I thought about, like, what gyms are given a discount for the next.
Right. Exactly.
What are some people? What can people look for that will benefit them in the long run?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I don't know if everybody's just gonna flock to the gym once all this is over, or they're gonna need to, like you mentioned, discount so they can get people in. Because I don't know if people are gonna get used to working out at home. So I mean, right now there's a lot of the instructors that I was going with in the past. They're doing a lot of web-based workouts, group-based workouts. So, and even before Corona, they started having those, Peloton and a lot of the other gyms, or a lot of the other internet-based type of home workouts that was popping up. So, I mean, for me, I need to go to the gym. I need to physically go and go to the gym itself, so I stay motivated. It's hard for me to work out at home, but I'm curious to see how many people start to work out at home.
There's been a lot. I think what you've seen in the last 2 weeks is that we'll come out of this with more dancers and more yoga teachers, right?
Exactly, especially the yoga teachers, and yeah, we'll see a ton of them for sure.
I love it, dude. It's for everyone that's wondering what to do, find a craft, do it online. This is you see everybody doing it. It's one of the best things you can do.
Yeah, tech sector is definitely still looking good, looking strong.
Yep. All right, brother. So where can people find you?
Yeah, so the website is healthinfinance.com. That's healthinfinance.com. I do have an Instagram. It's official financial fitness on IG, but the main website would be www.healthandfinance.com. And the best way to remember that is obviously next to health and family is your finances. So health and finance.
Good. And your DMs are open for anyone that needs any specific advice, one-on-one advice. They can always find you on Instagram, and you'll be able to talk to them right there.
Yeah, of course. So it's a no cost, no obligation to go over what I call the initial financial fitness physical. We essentially just go over what your concerns are, what you need help out with, essentially where you're at and where you want to be, and how I can help you. I'm definitely there as a resource, and yeah, just hit me up for the details and go from there.
Awesome, man. Fellow Hooper, finance extraordinaire, Mark Ragos, thank you so much for your time. And look forward to talking to you more, man. Be safe, be healthy, and I'm glad you're kicking ass during this time.
Hey, I appreciate it, Kenny. Thanks for having me.
Yes,
Everybody stay safe and be confident out there.
all right, man. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
One of the fun guy, he gets some portobello, so I guess I need some grease up on my elbow. Yeah. But now my light turn yellow.